Hi there, my name is Phil from 2020 Sounds. Thank you for clicking on our channel. Today's video is about wedding fairs and open days. So first of all, what's the difference between a wedding fair and an open day? An open day is usually held at the venue you've already booked, and they have a handful of suppliers, which are their own recommended suppliers, and they'll have an open day to invite you to meet those suppliers, but equally as well to have new people come round, show them the venue, and again meet those suppliers. A wedding fair is a lot bigger, so they'll still have it at a venue, but there'll be a lot more suppliers. There might be, say, 3 or 4 photographers, 2 or 3 DJs, cake making companies, so they'll have a wider range of suppliers at a wedding fair. So that really is what the difference is. So really, like with anything you do with your wedding, a wedding fair and an open day is another tool to help you plan for your day, obviously. But before you do that, really, I always think that it's important before you go to a wedding fair or an open day to do your research first. I mentioned on my previous video about budget, and I think that's so important to know what your budget is, because when you do attend a wedding fair or an open day for the first time, it's very easy to get caught up in all the nice to haves and kind of almost get lost track in all the essentials, because when you do attend wedding fairs, there are so many things that you probably didn't ever consider, and you can kind of get a little bit lost in all that. So what I would do first of all, to start with really, is to work out your budget. As I said before in a previous video, work out your budget. There's planning tools and there's apps where you can download, fill in every part of those details to know how much you've allocated towards every part of your wedding. I think that is absolutely fundamental, because as I said before, you can go to wedding fairs and get lost. So doing that research beforehand really is important. The other important thing as well is to do everything in stages. Don't try and go to, say, a wedding fair or an open day and try and get it all done at once. From that planning tool, work out what needs to be done first. So, for instance, most obvious thing would be your venue. You've probably already chosen your venue, but your venue needs to be first. That's where everything then starts to come into place. So then once you've got your venue and you've got a date, then everything else starts. Then it's your wedding dress, bridesmaids' dresses, and then onwards you go. So I would say, if you're going to a wedding fair, go with a specific goal in mind. So for instance, today we're going to a wedding fair. I really want to speak to wedding dress companies. I want to speak to bridesmaids companies, and I want to speak to someone about getting my groom's suits as well. So you go with that mindset. Go with somebody that you trust, maybe your partner, maybe a friend, family member. Go with somebody you trust and bounce ideas off one another. Another good thing to think of as well also is to, before you attend the wedding fair, look who's going to be there. So again, going back to that idea of you're going to look for wedding dresses, see which wedding dress companies are going to be there, do a little bit of research about them, have a look on their website, their Facebook pages, their Instagram accounts, everything else, see what they do and everything else. Maybe speak to them beforehand saying, look, I'm coming to a wedding fair, I believe you're exhibiting at that same wedding fair. I'd really like to see X, Y and Z dress possibly. Will you be exhibiting those? Okay, no. Can I make an appointment to come in and see you? So you need to really do a kind of a bit of a research beforehand. Going blindly to a wedding fair, I think you can definitely get lost in it all. You'll come back with hundreds and hundreds of flyers and promotional material, and you don't know where to start. You're probably worse off than you were to start with, because now you've got all these ideas and you don't know where to start. So as I said before, start with the budgeting tool. Work out how much you can allocate to spend on each part of your wedding, which will really help. And then when you go to wedding fairs, I would always say, rather than trying to do everything all in one hit, go to wedding fairs with a specific goal in mind, and then just keep going and going and going, and you'll get more and more ideas. Another really important thing to do when speaking to people at wedding fairs, they are there essentially to sell you something. You know, that's exactly why they are there. Don't feel bad about asking for a discount. They want your business just as much as you want them to help you. So don't be afraid to ask for a discount. They can always say no, like any negotiation in life, they can always say no. So bear that in mind as well also. Also as well, when you speak to people as well, see if they know, say for instance, you're speaking to a wedding dress company. So I'm really struggling for suits at the moment. Do you know any really good companies that I can get a suit for the grooms for? They'll be able to recommend people. So use the wedding fairs, not just as people to purchase stuff from, but to get ideas from. Say, or I really like this. Do you know where I can get that from? And they'll always be able to help you out. People in the exhibit wedding fairs have been doing this for many, many years, and they, like myself, would have built a really good portfolio of people that they know and they trust. So it's worth, when speaking to people, is to get ideas off everyone else, and that would again in turn help you with your planning. I've been exhibiting now at wedding fairs since 2009, and more often than not I've always used Tina at the wedding experience. Something else to bear in mind, where we are nowadays, you'll have a lot of companies that go into a venue and say that they can do a wedding fair, and they don't do, shall we say, a good as job as somebody like Tina at the wedding experience, because they advertise them well, they get good suppliers there, it's always well marketed, you get a good footfall for there, so you get a really nice busy day. Sometimes you'll go to a wedding fair and it hasn't been very well advertised, it hasn't been well marketed, and you'll be there and everyone looks a bit lost and it's a bit empty. So be mindful of which wedding fairs you go to. Obviously, I'd always recommend going to the open days. It's a really, really good place to start. Having that recommended suppliers there and trusting and talk to them, knowing that though your venue recommends those people, is really, really important. So I'll start with there first, start getting some ideas and bits and pieces on there. You may really like the photographer there, and if that case is great, then obviously that saved you a lot of time and money and effort. So it's a case of really just taking a step back, taking it all in, and then just planning bit by bit by bit. And you're going to a wedding fair with the aim of getting something or getting some information for something. Don't try and do it all at once, is what I'm saying, is because, as I said before, I started doing wedding fairs in 2009, and the first one was at Commissioner's House, and it was a small little wedding fair and there was people chatting to each other. The next one I did was at Detlin at the Kent Showground, and 1,200 people attend that, and all the suppliers and everything else. And honestly, my mouth was on the floor, my jaw was on the floor. I couldn't believe A, how many people there, B, how many suppliers there were, how many different suppliers cater for different things. It just blew my mind. And I think if any bride or groom were to go to that wedding fair as their first one, then they will probably never attend a wedding fair ever again, because there is so much to take in. As I said before, and I keep saying, do your planning beforehand, know what you're going for a wedding fair for, know your budget, and that will really stand you in good stead. So I hope you found that informative today. I hope you found that information something you can take on board. If you do have any questions, then obviously do get in touch. Thank you very much, and please subscribe to my channel. Take care.